This program is brought to you by Waste Management of North County and Oceanside, who are dedicated to serving customers and community as a safe, comprehensive service provider, a good corporate citizen, and a responsible environmental steward. Think green, think waste management. The following program does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of the City of Oceanside, its elected officials, KOCT, its board of directors, or staff.
Welcome to Oceanside Spectrum. I'm your host, Kelly Davis, in for Elaine Swan. Well, it is that time of year for students to head back to school, and we have a great lineup of guests to take us into the start of this school year. The Boys and Girls Club of Oceanside will be here to announce the winner of the California State Youth of the Year. Kids for Peace will be here to talk about their peace gardens and their recent trip to Kenya. Also on the show, we welcome real-world scholars stopping by to chat about their student-run educational corporations. Last up on the show, we have a principal from the Oceanside Unified School District here to speak about the exciting new non-traditional education program offered to students right here in Oceanside. So get ready to get caught up on all the wonderful school buzz that's happening around North County, San Diego. All right here on Oceanside Spectrum. For our first guest on this September edition of Oceanside Spectrum, we are pleased to welcome back Julie Hernandez, who won California State Youth of the Year, and we're also going to welcome Hillary Adams, Director of Operation of the Boys and Girls Club. Julie Hernandez, sounds good. California State Youth of the Year. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back. I missed being on here.
So tell us a little bit about this year's competition. This is California Youth, California State Youth of the Year. Where was it? How was it? Tell us.
Okay, so it was in April. And we went to Sacramento, California, and we stayed in Sacramento at a really cute hotel, and we all got to know each other. There was 9 of us, and we all just like clicked like suddenly. It's like we'd known each other forever. I fell in love with every single one of them. And then we went lobbying for the Boys and Girls Club and ACES funding for our after-school programs at the Capitol, and we got to meet with our representatives and take pictures with them. And I got a cute little, I don't remember what it's called. It's like a little proclamation, but it was all gold and framed. It was so cool. I like died on the inside when I got it because it has my name on it and everything. So that was awesome. That was life-changing. And then at our competition, like after the judging process that we went through, it was at this like museum, and there was a little theater, and we all got to go up and say our names and things about ourselves and give our speeches to an audience. And then when it was announced that I was State Youth of the Year, I was like, hey, am I dreaming? And I was like, one of you guys should pinch me because this doesn't feel real. And then the chaperone that I was with, Miss Amy, was recording it. And when she heard my name, she dropped her phone. So like the video of like the announcement of me winning, it just cuts off right after it says my name because the phone just fell on the floor. So it was just like a really like awe-inspiring moment where we're just kind of like, wait, are we in the Twilight Zone right now? Like, what's happening?
So she was terribly excited. And Miss Adams, I'm sure that the Boys and Girls Club must be terribly excited about all this as well.
We definitely are. It's the first in 65 years that we've ever had a California State Youth of the Year. And this is the most elite position that a youth can receive from the Boys and Girls Club of America. And just the opportunities provided and the scholarships that she can go on to get as she continues to go on in this journey just leads her to a wide range of opportunities, meeting senators and people from Toyota and different organizations to just really open her eyes to different opportunities in leadership as well.
And I know she won her district, which was San Diego Youth,
San Diego County, and then she went on to the state, and then one state, and then she went to the regional competition. And unfortunately, she did not win the regional competition, but we are still so very proud of her, and know she'll just do some great things.
So the regional competition, now where was that held?
Ooh, that was in Anaheim. We got to stay at the Grand Californian right on Disney. We had like the back door of our hotel was into like California Adventure. So we got to spend the whole day at Disney. It was so awesome. We got little hats and we all got to spend time together as like a family, people who I was competing with for regionals. And we all just grew. We have like our own little Snapchat group chat now. And we're always like, I miss you, or how you guys doing?
That is
so
fantastic.
Like this whole experience has really just been like creating like a huge family. Like I know people all across the country now. I went to a leadership conference in Georgia, in Atlanta, and then I met all of the 78 state youth of the years and military youth of the years. So it's just like a huge like collection of us, and we all just get along so well. And it's just, I can't even begin to like speak on how this like experience has changed my life and how I don't want this year to end, but I know it has to.
So then we got about a minute left. What is next for Julie Hernandez? What are you up to? Where are you? What you doing?
Okay, so today actually was my first day of school as a sophomore in college. I will be turning 18 in November, so I'll finally be an adult.
You're a young sophomore.
And then I start organic chemistry. I'm a chemistry major, so I'm excited but scared at the same time, so we'll see how that goes. And then in a year I should be transferring to Stanford or Berkeley to get my doctorate in chemistry, so
Fantastic.
I'm excited.
Well, Julie Hernandez, thank you so much for coming back. Hillary Adams, thank you for being with us. And we will be right back right after this.
Use motor oil or cocktail or toxin. Dispose carefully, you got lots of options. Never the trash, the drain, or the ground. That's insane and it ain't safe and sound. Oceanside is a zero waste city. Oceanside is a zero waste city. Oceanside is a zero waste city. Oceanside is a zero waste city.
Recycle used oil and filters at certified collection points in Oceanside. For locations, see greenoceanside.org.
Tri-City Medical Center, a leader in advanced healthcare close to home.
I've completed 8 Ironman races until a ruptured herniated disc caused me debilitating pain.
I performed a successful microdiscectomy on Kathleen.
But I did not want to run anymore. I didn't want to risk pain again. After time, I needed an Ironman-sized dream, so I returned to triathlons.
I worked with Kathleen to help her regain her strength.
Thank you, Tri-City Medical Center, for your incredible orthopedic work.
Tri-City Medical Center, advanced healthcare for you.
Hi and welcome back. I'm your host, Kelly Davis, in for Elaine Swan. Well, our next guest, we have Phyllis Morgan, educational consultant who worked for Kids for Peace this summer, and she's here to talk about a little bit about that. Kids for Peace, Phyllis, welcome.
Hi, Kelly.
So what does Kids for Peace do?
Well, Kids for Peace connect kids with kids. You know, they did it through the Great Kindness Challenge, you know, showing their empathy and showing kindness throughout the world. And they are about developing educational opportunities for students all over the world. They have over 150 different groups of students all over the world that are connecting and asking for more materials or things that we can donate or volunteer our time with. So it's a group of volunteers who get together in a nonprofit way to be able to raise materials, of which we brought to Kenya. So you couldn't mail any of the materials there. You had to work and get them all there, from libraries to everything they were doing, music programs, art programs. And I personally developed a peace garden with the students of Oceanside to bring a garden type of culture to the students there.
So one of the things that Kids for Peace does, one of the programs is a peace garden. Is that correct?
Well, we did that this time. This was one of our focus areas, and it was a way that we could get kids to connect with kids. Mm-hmm. So we have local garden programs out of Oceanside, and the Palm Quest students actually built the same garden and videoed themselves to replicate it so that they could make it over there. So it was a way of building a culture with another country.
So with the peace gardens, they are literally, are they planting? What is involved with creating a peace garden? Are they literally planting? What goes on with that?
Well, it's a garden. And the way we decided to design this was around making it a low maintenance garden. So we've done a lot of different kinds of gardening in Oceanside schools, but we decided to go around a new way of called permaculture and hogoculture, which is you build a trough and you fill it with decaying material like logs that are soaked in debris from plant life, and then you build a little mound and it actually becomes a raised garden that has decaying material and nutrients to the soil. So it actually kind of captured a lot of people's imagination. We had 28 volunteers go over this year, and a lot of the gentlemen got into it, and they got into, we made it just in the symbol of a peace sign. So it's really actually became very large, and everybody got their backs into it. It was a lot of fun.
So thus the name Peace Garden, because it's in the peace sign. So you did this here at Palmquist, and then you went, was it this past summer, you went to Kenya, and you did the same thing with a school over there?
Right, and it's called the Peace School, which is why we did the peace sign. And they do a whole pledge for peace every day. They have a little labyrinth around a flagpole. Every day they say their peace pledge. And we made the peace sign in the symbol of for the garden, and we put in kale, and then we put in companion crops like we would do in any other garden. But it was a different kind of gardening technique, which our students hadn't had any familiarity with it either. And so we all learned from this. We learned together. The big part about connecting kids with kids, though, is that global empathy piece. And you just notice that socially and emotionally students grow better and more grounded when they're giving to other kids, knowing that they're getting their dreams come true while they're trying to get theirs come true.
Okay, so we have about another minute left. How can someone get involved? How can someone volunteer if they want to be involved with Kids for Peace?
So they could get on the online, www.kidsforpeaceglobal.org. And there is many projects they can contribute to. A student, if you want one student to go to school there with a uniform, a backpack, and 2 meals a day, it's $75 a year. A teacher costs $100 a month. So a lot of organizations are trying to expand that effort. It's a little village called Mackay, outside of Migori in western Kenya. But this is not the only school they fund. They actually are going ahead to Afghanistan, I think in October, to build a school there. So a lot of requests come from children all over the world, realizing, and I really got this part of it, is that education is something they all want. They all have dreams, but they know that people that are educated get those dreams faster than people that don't. So.
Well, Phyllis, thank you. We are out of time, and we'll be right back.
You act like you've never seen someone do this before.
Because I haven't.
Really? I've been doing this for a while. Saves me a ton of money.
But we share this milk.
Then we're both saving money.
My name is Andrea Lee Greenberg. I walk for Autism Speaks because my son Tyler is the single most important person in my life. Walk Now for Autism Speaks raises awareness every time a city puts on a walk. It is a terrific way to come together as a community, to reach out to one another, to get the message out that these children and these adults are incredible human beings.
To find a walk near you, visit walknowforautismspeaks.org.
And welcome back. We are here to talk about real-world scholars with Elise Burden and Principal Creedeman from El Camino High School. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Real-world scholars, what is that and what do you all do?
So much. So we're a nonprofit. We've been around for 4 years or so. It feels like a million. But essentially, we work with classrooms all around the country to infuse real-world, hands-on entrepreneurship into classrooms.
Wow. So why did you decide, what's the purpose? Why do that? What's going on with that?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, if I'm totally honest, but I think for us as an organization, we just see the transformative power of entrepreneurship, right? Like the transformative experience that students can have when they have to get out of their classroom. They have to create something, they have to ship their work out into the world, see how it lands, interact with people who they've never met or talked to, and have a really authentic learning experience. My co-founder is a chronic entrepreneur, and when we got started, he said, I just think every student should have this opportunity, the same opportunity that I had to figure out what I was good at, to figure out how to fail, how to take risks, how to be strategic and resourceful. And there's a big theme in education right now around entrepreneurship, and so we thought we could potentially partner with classrooms and help them really get an authentic experience as they explore that.
So you have, Principal Creedeman's going to speak to this in a moment. EdCorp, how does that fit into the Real World Scholars umbrella? I don't know if that's correct to say that.
That's a great question. We get this question a lot because there's some confusion. So we think of ourselves as kind of the behind the scenes folks, right? Real World Scholars is a nonprofit. We operate here in San Diego, but we support EdCorps all around the country. And EdCorp is just short for an education corporation. And we define that as a student-run business that operates from a classroom for the purpose of learning. So when we think of EdCorps as a whole, as a plural, it's really the community of young people and educators who are working together, who are kind of using business in this way in their educational experience.
So Principal Creedeman, at El Camino High School, how long has El Camino been with this program and how's it going?
It's awesome. So last year was our first year where we had implementation. We had 11 teachers of over 100 teachers took advantage of this. And of those 11 teachers, we had some amazing businesses that were fantastic, and we had some great failures, and the students learned so much from the failures. Some of them really learned that the system of trying to start a business is just going to be dealt with paperwork and roadblocks, and that grit that they learned from that was amazing.
Welcome to the real world.
Absolutely, absolutely. The joke that Elisa and I talk about a lot is that I got called to the principal's office because of my students, because they would not stop. And the district said, you know, you're kind of stepping on the toes of the FDA, because they wanted to sell food on campus. So,
wow,
yeah,
so
it's really interesting.
So we're breeding rule breakers.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
Well, you know, it sounds like you're going in the right direction in terms of so what kind of businesses at El Camino specifically has some of your students developed, I guess?
We have a web design class that has they sell web design, and what that means is they went through the Chamber of Commerce here in Oceanside and said they made cold calls, just like a real business, to all the businesses that were not listed with a website on the Chamber of Commerce, and said, we'd like to sell you, making a website for you. And that included creating tutorial videos and everything. It was amazing. We also had a business that made a book. We have a photography business, Oceanside Student Eye, that you see down at the farmers market sometimes. We sell ceramics down there at the art show. We sell decals. We sell, I can't remember, there's so many.
They got it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. And with Elise, so with Real World Scholars, how does one get involved? How would an educator say, you know what, I'm not at El Camino, but I'm at blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
How do they get involved?
Yeah, you can just pick up the phone and call us. You can also shoot us an email. We support over 250 educators around the country, 70 in the greater San Diego area. So we have a big community here of educators who did just that. They said, I want that for my classroom, I want that for my kids. And you know, we like to work with brave and bold educators who are willing to pick up the phone. So that's all they got to do.
Elise and Principal Creedeman, thank you so much for joining us. And we will be right back with our final guest.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes twice a day. They have the time.
I never chew tobacco.
I don't drink much.
Never smoked a cigarette in my life.
HPV. Isn't that about cervical cancer?
What does that have to do with oral cancer?
HPV? Didn't know that.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm your host, Kelly Davis, in for Elaine Swan. Well, our next guest, we have Dr. Pumeli here to talk about a non-traditional program, education program at the Oceanside Unified Public Schools. Welcome, Dr. Pumeli.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me this evening.
What is this new non-traditional education program that we're going to implement to meet the needs of these students? What is it?
So I'm so very excited to explain this new program within OUSD to you. It is really exciting. So in July of 2016, the board and the superintendent decided to have a laser-like focus on alternative non-traditional settings to make sure that we were offering all options to students and we could retain and provide the best service to our students as possible. So last July, we opened alternative education for grades 6 through 12, which is just prospering. And this past Monday, we opened alternative education for TK through 5th grade over at Ditmar Elementary, which was just really exciting. So now within the district, we offer TK through 12 independent study options for students in the Oceanside Unified School District.
So what are these independent study options? Exactly what is entailed in this new non-traditional education program?
So I'm glad you asked. So when a family comes to meet with us and their option is not the traditional setting, we listen to the family, we find out what their needs are, what their child's needs are, and we develop the education around that family and student's needs. So it could look like a student comes in and meets with the teacher and spends some time at the center for a couple of hours every day. It could be that the student Skypes with the teacher and sends all of their homework in via the internet and all their work. Or they could, like we have a professional surfer who travels all around the world and he does Skype the teacher and send in his work via the internet. So we just, nothing is out of the question. We really meet the families where they are and try to provide the best education possible.
Well, it sounds like an exciting program. My immediate question where my mind is going, what's the difference between this particular program and something like I hear about homeschooling? Is there a difference? Is it kind of similar?
So we offer some different options. Homeschooling is definitely one of them, where homeschooling is where we give the curriculum to the family, and then the family, the parents, are responsible to teach the curriculum. And then the teacher just oversees the parent teaching the curriculum. Then we have a blended model, which means they do a little bit of book work, a little bit of online work, and the teacher oversees that and works with the student. And then we have the complete virtual model, where it's all online. We like students to meet with the teacher at least once a week. They can come in for any kind of support that they need, any tutoring, any extra assistance, to use any of the tools that are at the center, iPads, Chromebooks. We check out iPads and Chromebooks to students, so if they don't have a device, that is no problem. We allow them to check them out and take them home. So we are just really looking at servicing families of Oceanside the best way possible.
How many, I don't know if the proper word is learning centers, or how many of these hubs do you have for students? Is that a proper way of asking that?
It is. Okay. So we just opened on Monday, which I'm very excited to talk to you about, at Ditmar,
okay.
Where we're servicing transitional kinder all the way through 5th grade there. And over at Claire Bergner, which is located on Cary Road, right off of Mission Avenue, we service currently about 400 students there, grades 6 through 12. And then on the campuses of Oceanside High School and El Camino High School, we have independent study centers on the campuses. So the unique part about what we're offering that, say, charters can't offer, is that a student can come to us in an independent study model for their core content, English, math, social science, but they can also go to their school of residence to take any kind of specialty things like art, band, music, show choir, and they can also participate in any sports, clubs, or extracurricular activities.
So not only do they are able to go to this new alternative or non-traditional education program, they're still they can still have some connection with their home, high school, and friends, all
That's
that.
right, because it's so important. That socialization piece is absolutely key, in their young teenage years. So we encourage it, and that is one thing that really puts us apart from any kind of other independent study program that there is, probably in California.
So, and at your centers, do you have, I saw online something called Internet Cafe. Is this at all of your hubs, so to speak, and what's in there?
So in the Internet Cafe, and it actually is at 2 of the centers, it's a place for students to come if they want to study. We have desks that are attached to bikes, stationary bikes, so they can exercise while they're studying, because all the research shows that that's the best way to do it. We have air hockey, we have ping pong, we have just a bunch of fun things that, really just lures students in. We have a big TV. We try to put educational things on there. But sometimes we watch movies, and we just want it to be a fun place where students are comfortable and they want to come. Because going to school should be fun, and it should be a place where students want to be, not a place where they have to be.
So how do you, I don't know if the word is regulate, but when someone works with, I guess it's a counselor, a teacher, how do you keep the students on course or keep them accountable? How does that fit in?
So the ADA in an independent study model, which is the average daily attendance, which is how we get the funding to service students from the state and the federal government. In a traditional setting, it's about how many students are seated in the seat during the school day. In an independent study model, it's not about that at all. It's about their work completion. So we ask students to finish one class every 3 weeks, and that keeps them in line with their counterparts in the traditional setting. In case they would ever want to go back full-time to the traditional setting, they can step right in without skipping a beat. So their continued enrollment in independent study is based on work completion.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, does that mean if they're not completing the work, do they, I don't want to say have to go back, but does that mean that maybe this might not be for them, or?
Well, there are a lot of interventions that are put in place before we talk about them going to a traditional setting to get more support. We look at how much time they're spending in the center, how much support that we can gear their way. We look at exactly where they're having those difficulties, and just try to really brainstorm with the family, with the parents, because we truly believe that it needs to be that community, and there needs to be that open line of communication in order to best service their child. So, if it's not working out initially, that's not the end. There's a lot of conversation around why it's not working and interventions put in place.
And I know this is brand new, is why you're here, because we're getting the word out. Where does one go if they're like, hey, I didn't hear about this and I'm at Oceanside High School? Where do they go for more information?
So we have a center at Oceanside High School, and Brad Seamy is the counselor. So they can definitely, go there. Most adults on the campus of Oceanside High School and students know exactly where our independent study program is. El Camino, same thing. The big center is located 707 Cary Road. And we are open from 7:30 to 4:30 and welcome visitors that want to just come in, look at the facility, take a tour, maybe even talk to some students about their experiences. So we just encourage people to come on in and check it out.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting program. Sounds like there's been a lot of thought and work towards it. Now, is there anything that you'd like to add, or is there a question I didn't ask? Or
I actually would. Thank you for that opportunity. So if a student stays with us in independent study, and this is one of the things that sets us apart from the charter schools, we are a program off of all 22 schools in the district. So from elementary to middle to high school. So when a student finishes their coursework at a high school and they meet their graduation requirements, they earn their diploma. Well, at our center, if they were to stay in independent study, and their school of residence is Oceanside High School, then they would be earning that Oceanside High School diploma. And it looks no different than that student that had been sitting in class for those 6.5 hours a day. The coursework is the same, the delivery is very different.
Dr. Pumelli, thank you so much for coming on our show and talking about this very important program. And that's it for Oceanside Spectrum, our September Back to School edition. Thanks for watching.
This program was brought to you by Waste Management of North County and Oceanside, who are dedicated to serving customers and community as a safe, comprehensive service provider, a good corporate citizen, and a responsible environmental steward. Think green. Think Waste Management.